Hello and welcome to Inside Salem. I'm your host, Mike Allen. This show is being taped at SATV Studios on on Derby Street, and we're taping it on December 18th, 2024, 1 week before Christmas. So Merry Christmas to all, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Holidays to all. On this show, we try to go behind the scenes on the on what's happening locally in our city and the region, and sort of give us some of the behind-the-scenes background. And for that, we've assembled a panel of people who know these things, have been around a while. And we have Teasie Riley-Goggin, political analyst.
Thank you, Mike.
We have Dominguez, former council at large.
Thank you, Mike. Glad to be here.
Okay. Tom Furey, former school committee member, former council at large, and current planning board member.
Thank you.
And Attorney Jim Fleming, former Ward 6 city councilor and former school committee member.
Mike, good to be here.
Okay, welcome all. Today's topics going to include the tax rate increase for the city of Salem, a couple of projects at the now empty schools that were part of the Catholic Church, and MCAS requirement, even though that went by the wayside, the public believes there should be a requirement to graduate, and we'll probably talk about some of the other projects going around, particularly a couple of my favorites.
I would like to just, before we even get started, I would like to, really say thank you very much, Mike, through you. It is Marie who makes these beautiful boxes with goodies inside of them each year that we appreciate. Thank you very much, Marie. They're great. They're great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. I'm sure she appreciates that. Thank you. She hopes you enjoy. Okay. First things first, just announced in the paper, I think today, or maybe Monday, that the tax rate for the city of Salem is going to go up for residentials 1.8%, which is significantly less than our neighbors, Beverly and Peabody. It's sort of unusual. Usually we're in the higher end of that. So this
That's
year,
very good.
kudos to the city for keeping it down, although we're at a higher amount already. So there's gives us more wiggle room, but at least this is in the right direction.
Still very good. Very good to that type of increase.
Yeah.
But have they gone up on the water and sewer rate? Have they gone up in other areas?
Yeah, I went up last year for those. Yeah. But yeah, actually, I told a couple of city councilors, and I didn't really upset the apple cart, but at one point in time, Mayor Driscoll brought in a budget, and she was charging a lot of, like the maintenance trucks that were part of the city. She was charging them, in effect, to the water and sewer bills because it gave them more flexibility to raise taxes. And that was something that probably if I sued, I would not win in court. But it was certainly not within the letter of the law. It's supposed to be on the water and sewer. It's supposed to be basically what it costs to do is what it can raise. Obviously you can raise some for a rainy day fund and things like that. But basically you can't raise money from on the water sewer side and then transfer it over to the city side to pay for schools or anything like that. So.
The financial problem that's looming in Salem and elsewhere is insurance.
Yeah.
Insurance on a home that used to be $500 2 years ago. Now it's $2,000.
Okay.
$2,000.
Okay.
That's absolutely something has got to be done relative to the insurance premiums. Cars are about the same way. My car went from $300 to $2,200. Now mine went from an old car to a new car, but still that's still too much money.
Yeah.
And I think if we don't do something about that, we won't have to worry about taxes because they'll be taking the house for insurance.
But the only thing is, Salem does not seem to stand up and put on the boxing gloves and fight it out with some of these other communities that we seem to carry. And we don't seem to get the correct remuneration for what we give here as a city that has reservoirs and has land that they put aside for water and things like that.
Well, again, we're the host city for the Southeast Sewer District, and obviously Peabody can't be that, and Danvers can't be that because they're not on the harbor. So it has to be either Salem or Beverly, basically, or that's the only.
Marblehead.
Marblehead's part of that?
Good try.
Oh, I didn't know
Good try.
Marblehead was part of it. It could have been Marblehead, yeah. So, so the thing is, we're the host community, but we did not strike a good deal.
No.
That's
Certainly
the thing. And then, again, it was long enough ago that you can't blame anyone in power now that that they didn't that they,
Well, it travels right down, Mike, right to the power plant.
yeah,
I mean, big time,
yeah,
and what we carry.
yeah. But it's
And now we have this wonderful of a thing that they think is going to be the saving grace of all energy, and that's wind.
yeah,
Well, I have a bulletin for them because everything started way back when
yeah,
with wind. And you talk to, I haven't had a conversation with Columbus lately on how he got here, but I know that wind had a lot to do with many of the ships that came in to our harbors. And they've been replaced. Wind is not as big a deal, and it's not going to do what they think it's going to do.
Well, that's I think
Just a
it's
heads
been
up to the Port Authority that runs the Salem Port and this new plant coming in. They're going to name the facility the Pep Canaccio facility down there in the Crowley, by Crowley, which has been a tribute to Pep and the family, Canaccio family.
Yeah. Kevin was a long-time employee of the power
Power
station.
plant.
Right.
Power plant.
And Pep too. Wasn't Pep there?
The power plant, yeah.
Did Pep work at the power plant?
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
Many
When I
years.
knew
Oh, yeah.
he had been retired, But Kevin worked there for many years, and Kevin was, when I was on the Conservation Commission, he was the chair of it, not at first, but when I left.
We almost got poles for the first renovation of Bertram Field. Pep Canaccio had the connections with the power plant, the old power plant.
Yeah.
And they were going to donate to poles for the Bertram Field lighting, but that fell apart with the Eddie Clinton administration. He didn't want Friday night lights there. So the poles, Pep Canaccio was the instrumental force.
Who did it fall out?
Who killed it?
Who killed it?
Mr. Curtin, the former superintendent.
Oh, okay.
He killed it.
Okay.
The first try. We got it on the second try with Larry McIntyre.
Okay. Didn't know that.
Perseverance.
Yeah. Okay.
I still remember Pep Canaccio and his Subaru and that little gold car that had more,
Yeah.
it needed more Band-Aids, right? I don't know
Yeah.
what kept that little car going.
I was there for his last day.
He was Mr. Salem. He did Heritage Days.
Had an
everything.
accident in Moody Square.
Yeah.
I heard it from my yard. Went down. There was Pep. And that was the end of the driving and the end of the car.
Okay.
He was the best of Salem, the best.
Oh, good guy.
Okay. Two schools. We have the one is the residence at St. James, which is going to be 32 apartments, and basically for seniors, at least one of the tenants needs to be 62 or older.
In every unit?
Yes.
In every unit.
That's the claim. It's 100% senior. And then we have the Hawthorne Lofts, 29 of those. That's on Hawthorne Boulevard.
That's for artists.
Right, and that's going to be artist preferred, 29 units. Obviously, they can require someone to be of a certain age, but they can't require someone of a certain profession. So they can't require that be artist only.
How are they going to keep track of that? How are they going to find that if I say I'm an artist,
Yeah.
how are they going to be fundamentally, reassured that I'm telling them the truth, or somebody else telling the truth?
Yeah.
You can be
can't
an
answer
artist.
any of
That's
that.
right. I can be an artist.
You can,
Yeah,
you can be
I
an
don't know,
artist.
but the thing is, I guess something I read said there's going to be areas. There's going to be like an area for common display of
So they're gonna test my skill. If I have an artist, I had to draw some mural before I got in.
But you know, St. James, with those saying it's going to be 62 or older.
Yeah.
And I'm just wondering also if someone was disabled, whether they bring the age down or not. But it's going to be on a sliding scale. It sounds like I'm just wondering if it's going to be kept for just Salem people, or if it's going to be like an open lottery.
No, it cannot be.
Can't do it.
Yeah, that's illegal to
cannot
discriminate
discriminate.
people only.
But I'm saying, can they give a larger number to the Salem people, or give preference?
You can't discriminate.
No. Okay.
First,
But
first
this is not senior housing like Salem housing. This is
Still,
a private
again,
developer.
They're going to be residents of Salem.
Yeah.
Wherever they're coming from, they're
They're gonna be-
going to be residents of Salem.
Yeah, once they move in there, they're going to be a
That's the
resident. So,
philosophy.
Right.
yeah.
Mickey Norcott, who was the head of the Community Development Corporation, the Point, which is the major
Teasie.
development of the Point, the housing there, and he was instrumental in getting the Immaculate Conception done, St. Mary's School done for that school, and he's also was instrumental before he left to go to California. He was instrumental in St. James,
Yeah.
and that's a major force. The convent at St. James and the rectory at St. James are all condominiums, high-end condominiums on Federal Street. But this is going to be a real nice plus for the neighborhood. The neighborhood had a major force in it. The Salem Historical Society, that particular neighborhood, had many meetings with Mickey Norcoff and the CDC. So that's going to be a nice plus for the neighborhood. Plenty of parking there at the old St. James School.
But could I ask you, the planning board, besides, they should get their act together and start having meetings in front of the public. Everyone's talking about it now, by the way. And I always say, I'm sure that Tom, who stands up for the things that are going on in Salem, and he stood up so many different times, I said I have great respect for Tom right now.
Yeah,
That,
I got voted down twice to get out of Zoom. I don't believe in Zoom.
yes.
Oh, we should be out of it anyways. It's no reason for it.
No, there isn't.
No reason
No
at
reason.
all.
Yeah.
If you're on a board, you go to the meeting.
Yeah.
Period.
Live.
Right.
If they don't want to go out to meetings, then give it up and make room for someone who will go.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And again, there's some logic to making it available to the public to view the meeting, but even that,
I don't even believe in that.
yeah.
Hybrid.
The
Hybrid.
logic behind that some people saying is that there is more participation through the public through Zoom.
Who says that? The planning board.
Which make it easy for some people who actually come from work. Instead of go to a meeting at a certain place, they can do it on their own computer. They can be, dealing with some of the issues that they have at home. And that's basically, they say that's increased in numbers, according to the data, increased in number of participants.
I'd like to see those numbers.
But that was my question when somebody comments on the same regard. But my point is that whoever is interested in some topic or issue, you have to at least pay attention to and sacrifice in order for you to make people know that you really care about it. And that's basically what has happened. What we're creating is a community of people who are too comfortable and they want everything on the table. You need to go after, and we need to teach the new generation that you need to fight for what you need. You need to sacrifice yourself and be there and try to, be a voice for the most.
Well, right now, the planning board and the design review board, they should be taking a good look at what's being built in Salem, because we have a whole group of very ugly buildings. If McIntyre could come back and take a look at what's popping up all around this city, I mean, he would, he'd move some other place and take his houses with him. No.
Well, when you take a look at, the Michael J. Ruane Judicial Center, is that the official name of it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is the main courthouse downtown. I mean, I just remember, early on they're saying, they had like a thumbnail sketch of it, and everyone's saying, yeah, we like the courts here, we like this, we like that, but the building is the wrong design for Salem.
Right.
And they kept saying, well, this is too early for that, this is too early for that, this is too early for that.
Same thing with
and then
the
all of a
garage.
sudden, oh, no, we're already past that point. And there was never any point where you could say that. I mean, the parking garage, I talked about this before, the parking garage is ridiculous. And it's not like I want a parking garage that they can't build. The one in Beverly, I'd take that one. That
Yeah.
one fits Salem's
I
character.
agree.
I just
agree.
don't understand why they need to do these things.
It's awful.
It's an ego thing for the architects.
It is, and it's really wrecked a historic colonial city.
Yeah.
To you know, a lot of people blamed urban renewal before Zoll
Well, didn't
started.
put anything up. They just took things down.
Right.
So, but
these
again,
things are ugly, absolutely ugly.
yeah.
But they're building big boxes, and what they're doing with windows, I don't understand. I'm waiting to see what's going to happen down there on Canal Street with Bertini property. And
Ugly.
That
Going to be
building,
right up to the curbstone.
Yeah, I'm not that opposed to that.
I am.
Yeah, I mean it gives you a better streetscape than I mean, it's one thing in a residential neighborhood, but in terms of an area where it's a walking area, it gives you a better streetscape than walking by. And what are they going to put out front? Parking lot? I mean, they're not going to put a lawn out there that they're going to do. They're going to put a parking lot out there. Parking should be behind.
Grass. Should be
I know,
grass.
the other day I was talking with someone and I said, my friend, I said, who runs the TV show that I'm on, he is all for, build to the street and have yards in the back.
Yeah.
And I said, there's some merit to that, but there should be some frontage.
Yeah,
The Bertini one is almost like, when I go down Rantoul Street, I feel as if those
Well, yeah, okay.
New
I
York
can
City.
Yeah.
Is that safe for the truck and every big truck coming somewhere? If you do it that way in both sides, like Rantoul, when we have any big truck coming, right one, it's going to be a little bit narrow.
Yeah.
in the city.
So I think actually what they should do is that they should just go like 2 stories up. They should build across the street, add housing that way. There's buildings that are over Mass Pike. There's some buildings that actually are over. I know they don't do that now after some of the bombing things, but that would be what they would
It never really worked, Mike. I think it's Stop and Shop or Elm Farm built a supermarket a long time ago.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Over the extension to the Pike, and I think they just closed it.
Okay.
It just didn't appeal.
Well, the storage unit down there by Blubber Hollow, which over there in the bridge.
Right, now Blubber Hollow is the area
Yep, but
by the Dunkin' Donuts and the corner of Bridge in Boston.
That's more with the historic look of Salem than a lot of the other buildings.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree, and that's packed into that small lot, but at least it looks like Salem.
Well, the thing is, I'm going to pat myself on the back on that because I take some credit for that building. I was running for city council, and I was at the time I was on the Conservation Commission, and so I went to the Ward 4 meeting and actually it was a joint Ward 4, Ward 2, I believe, our Federal Street neighborhood. I went to the meeting, and the attorney, Georgia Atkins, was representing Public Storage, and we had David Hart there. Or was it David Hawk? I get the two of them confused. They're both architects. David Hart lives in Federal Street. David Hart. He was there, and he was talking about the design, etc. And so I pointed out to both parties. I said, look, I'm on the Conservation Commission, and we just approved a storage unit on Highland Avenue, and I understand that there's another one coming up that we're going to be looking at as well, and the thing is this property where it is, these people have a right to build what it is. So it behooves you as the business to listen to the neighbors because they can slow you down and make it hard for you to get your building built. And which means that your competitor is going to open up before you, plus you're going to create all this bad will. And then I said to the neighborhood group, I said, look, by right, eventually they can get this thing done. I mean, this is a corporation with big, deep pockets. They can wait you out, and eventually they're going to win because it's zoned for this. And so the thing is this: if you can reach a compromise, it works to both of your things. And the next thing you know, at the end of that meeting, David Hart is talking to the architect from public storage, and and they came up
They
with a
put the
compromise.
windows in and everything.
Right, they
No,
don't-
the
you know,
phony windows. In,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it worked.
But
It
yeah,
worked.
and it does.
worked.
I mean, it's not going to
Right.
win anything, and
No.
Martha Stewart's not going to move in there or anything. But it was certainly better than the orange, the purple and pink building that they normally have.
Absolutely.
So yeah. Anyways, but yeah. So if they design these buildings and you just wonder about it. Now, again, getting back to the Bertini's building, it just looks like a standard apartment building. I'm not saying it looks great or it looks bad, but it's not like the courthouse.
And it wouldn't take much money to adapt a few little colonial pieces to add to that building. Wouldn't take much money at all. Cornices on the corner or whatever, and they don't even do that.
Yeah, see, down in that neighborhood, it doesn't. I don't really. Down there, I don't really care. Now, but when they built the Jefferson project, where Parker Brothers was, and that's the project. It's no longer called Jefferson. I forget what it's called now. That's right near the train station. Yellowish, a bunch of yellowish buildings that are apartment buildings. When they built that, they did some architecture to fit into the neighborhood because it's right near the neighborhood.
It makes part of downtown.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, they have plenty of spacey apartments in there. It's not inside. It's not a bad building inside.
Well, it was built as a luxury apartment.
Yeah.
I actually, I owe Art Sargent, I actually gave it to him, so I don't owe him any longer, an apology over that because he was concerned about being subsidized housing and stuff like that. And I'm saying, look, there's a company that has over $1 billion worth of property throughout the country, and they do middle to high end. And so it's just the likelihood of that is just not very likely. Well, I was wrong and he was right. I guess they do have subsidized housing in there now.
One thing, Tom, you mentioned about Mickey Northcutt, but I don't think Mickey Northcutt ever came up with the funding for some of the buildings like St. James or also for St. Mary's on the Boulevard. I think that's why a private developer got that building, especially St. Mary's on the Boulevard. Is that correct?
He was the point person. To get things done, the grants.
He made a lot of money in a short time in Salem, Mass, and went off to California.
Oh, yes, he did.
So we ought to name something after him, too.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. He was ridiculous.
Yes, he was.
He was ridiculous.
He built his own empire.
Yeah, it must have taken 3 trucks to get the money out of Salem.
But he redid the Renaissance of the Point neighborhood, and he also was doing that. He was one of his last legacies is that development across the street from the engine house. That was his project. They had the bank, bank and the Wendy's. That's
And
all
so
his
is that speaking of that project, and the project we're talking about is actually
Gateway. It's the Gateway.
It was Beverly Cooperative Bank, and it now they were bought out by North Shore Bank. North Shore Bank, and it's on the corner of Lafayette and Derby Street, across from Engine House Pizza, across from the fire station, the main fire station, and they're going to turn that building, which is a one-story building, or is it 2?
It's a 1 right now.
1 story.
Yeah, but they didn't buy that building, did they?
5-story building.
Yes.
And
Not
is
sure.
that finalized that they've got all their permits and stuff?
They're just getting dotting the I's, crossing the T's for money and grants. It's all been finalized.
Imagine getting through that intersection
Yeah.
with occupants in 5 stories there.
Yeah.
But I'm asking, not sure, aren't they just renting or leasing? They didn't buy the building.
I have
But
no
those
idea.
buildings are going to come down, right?
Part of it.
Part of
They're
it.
going to add on top of North Shore Bank. North Shore Bank will
I
remain
thought
there.
they couldn't do that because of the land. There's
They can do
water
it. Yes, they
underneath.
can. In that particular
That
part
was part of the discussion
development.
before. I don't know if they went through the whole legal
Yeah,
aspect
even
of that.
mitigation, even the people that were suing for mitigation, that's all been cleared up. So that's on the fast track now for money and funding sources. But that's all gone on the green light.
Is the clinic that there was projecting to put in there for detox stuff like that, it's going to go through? Do you know?
It's a lot of artist studios and residential. Wendy's is staying there. Wendy's restaurant is staying there.
I know, but they was mentioned to have a
Right.
detox
A
clinic.
detox clinic there.
Yeah.
Is that still slated to be there?
What's the building here? Which one?
On the
on the corner of.
North Shore Bank building.
Yes, that's still four levels high. Apartments.
Yeah, but is there a
Artist studios.
detox
Oh,
center?
okay, so it's detox.
And health. And it's Community Health Corporation. It used to be down on Shetland Park, which is back in the 50s and 60s.
Yeah.
So they're moving to a community life center, a community health center there. Not necessarily detox.
No detox?
Part.
Okay.
You know, I keep waiting. This goes on and on and on. It goes on so long that you kind of forget what the original plan was.
Speaking of going on long and for so long and forget the original plan, I'm not sure if any of us were alive when the original plan went through. What's happening at the corner of Bridge and
Boston. The same developer.
Yeah.
Is
Sweetser.
there.
Secret.
Sweetser.
Nobody's saying anything.
Schwitzer.
No, secret. Absolute secret. They won't even tell you what's going on
No, they
there.
won't.
There's cranes there. It looks like there's something going on there.
Doing
There's cranes there.
the superstructure, the understructure. But they won't tell you what's going to be there.
And that was
Will
called the
not tell you.
Gateway Center at one time.
Yeah.
For Boston and Bridge Street.
Yeah.
It's an eyesore now.
See, I know you're a supporter of Mayor Driscoll.
No apologies.
Yeah.
Should be on that one. Why was that vacant for 15
I've never
or 20,
heard of
20
any.
years?
And have you ever heard of someone getting an open-ended, forever
Never.
design approval?
Never.
We had battles, Domingo and I, and the city council trying to get him to city council. He never appeared. He was
Never
a ghost.
appeared.
A ghost. But I think
yeah. I mean, but Mayor Driscoll allowed these people
Right.
to have an unending, an infinity type of approval, which that just doesn't happen.
15 or
There's
20
always-
years that I know of.
Yeah, it has to go back to. Yeah, I mean, 15 years, maybe 13 years, but it's done there. I mean, it's a ridiculous amount of time for nothing to be done there. And, and I know that they satisfied the requirement because they threw up a 10 by 10 plastic shed.
Condominium Association.
Yeah.
Well,
But-
if we find out the secret to where the drones are coming from, maybe we'll find out.
the first year of the Kim Driscoll administration, she wanted a council on aging at the old St. Joseph's Church, that facility now. But John Carr and a group of people were totally against it. So
Right
it bounced
here,
back to
right
Switzer.
here.
And Switzer came in, said, I can offer you a deal.
Okay, I remember, I was on the, Jim and I got elected to the
School committee.
school committee in 2003, started serving in 2004. And Mayor Driscoll won her first term in 2005, started serving in 2006. And after a year that Mayor Driscoll was in office, I got a call from Tom Dalton, who was the newspaper reporter.
Great.
And he always called me. 'cause
Great
I was,
reporter.
Yeah,
Great
reporter.
I always called me because I was always good for a quote, generally speaking. So, and he said to me, what grade do you give Mayor Driscoll in her first year? And, we had the financial issues and stuff like that. And I gave her a B. And I, told why I didn't like, what I didn't like, et cetera, and why I thought she did a good job. So he said to me, well, she's certainly inclusive. And I said, what do you mean? He said, well, this committee, some committee that she formed, or a task force. So she was always big on task force. So this task force she formed, they had like 18 members on it. And she had a bunch of people that were opposed to her on this committee or on this task force. And basically, I'm not sure what the difference officially between a committee and a task force is. And so I said, well, don't be fooled by that. When you get a big committee like that, there's never a consensus. And since there's no consensus, she can just do what she wants. And that's what happened with the senior center, because it was going to be the senior center. The consensus was not to put it at St. Joseph's, where they have since built a residential building. And I don't know the different problems. Well, my problem with it was here it was going to be 15,000 square feet. Our current Broad Street project, senior center, which is the old senior center was located on Broad Street, which is still empty. That property was 13,000 square feet, or maybe it was 12,000 square feet. Anyways,
Never considered
it was so, and they were told, it is so small, it is so small, it is so small. I think it was 12,000. And we're going to gain, not that much greater space for a whole lot of money. And we're coming into the baby boomers retiring when we would need space more. So we needed more space, and we needed it to be able to be expandable. That was my problem with it. It was not expandable, and we were spending a lot of money for very little gain of space. And so that was shot down because the public was against it. And then they had they put together a task force, and the task force never mentioned the corner of Boston Bridge. It never came up. My understanding. Were you on that task force?
It was a senior site committee.
Right. Okay.
And there were 12 members. And I can remember at most meetings, I would always say, here we are, the 12 of us.
Yeah.
Which one is the Judas?
Yeah.
And I didn't realize that we had probably 7 of them sitting there that belonged to the Judas Club.
It's up. I can name them almost. It's up. I remember the last meeting, and it was terrible. It was such a deal.
But her selling point was that we were going to have a condo inside of that building.
Yeah.
And that the Sweetser was going to pay for everything. It wasn't going to cost the city one red penny.
That's correct.
Yeah.
And we were going to sell Broad Street and make money off of that.
And we had
And we haven't done that yet.
Right.
And we had all these grants and
We
stuff.
had all these grants sitting there.
We lost them.
And we lost them
We
because of time
lost them,
frame.
absolutely.
Yeah, because they expired. Yeah. So the taxpayers of Salem were on the hook. We were sold a bill of goods. The city council was told, "Oh, we're going to get this back in the end." That's why you voted for it, I assume, and you weren't on there yet. But you were told a bill of goods that it wasn't going to cost us maybe a little bit because we're going to have some extra frills, et cetera, et cetera. And the taxpayers paid 100% of it.
Well, some of the councilors, it created hard feelings. But the whole thing is, the councilors thought, we can't do what we would like to do. We have to do what's best for the taxpayers. And if it's not going to cost money, because she promised.
Right.
It was
That's
there.
true.
She had proof. She had Sweetser.
Mexico will pay for the wall.
Yep.
Sound very familiar.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were, yeah. And those promises, I don't know. They went up in smoke someplace, yeah.
So in any event, so that project, do we know where, we went off on a tangent there, but do we know where that project is?
It's still in limbo. But the permits were given, he still owns it, so he's got the green light to go ahead. And I asked the planning board for a legal opinion.
Yep.
That does he have the right to go ahead after being there so long and no development? And the legal department, Beth Fernard, the city solicitor, said yes, he can still go ahead with the permits that he has. So I think in the 2025 we'll see hopefully something done. Hopefully.
I don't see how that's possible.
It's not possible. That's just a in-house
believe that.
opinion. It's not possible at all.
I don't think he had a permit.
If you have a building permit, it has a certain life. You don't build on it, that's it. It's gone.
Need to go back to reapplying for the.
Yeah, you'd have to go reapply, but
See, I'm not all that. First of all, I think it's wrong that what they've done, and again, it was a sweetheart deal for Switzer.
It was crooked.
Wouldn't you like to know what's going on there?
Yeah. But what my feeling is this: is that what was approved was 117, if I'm not mistaken, condominiums.
Condominiums first.
And I would rather have condominiums there than an apartment building.
Right.
And so therefore, if he was going there now, I believe he'd be looking for an apartment building. And I would rather have condominiums. It's better for the taxpayers to be condominiums than it is because the condominiums.
Pride of ownership too. So not only that, it's pride of ownership.
Yeah, because, you know, as the Mass Municipal Association says, that for on these type of big projects, it's like a $1.75 in cost for every dollar you collect in taxes.
Correct.
So it's a money loser for the city. If it's condos, it's not going to be a money loser
That's
for the
correct.
city, because the condos, each time they sell, they're going to adjust all the different things, and they're going to be paying their way. But
All right, for instance, they had yesterday a Christmas party at the senior center or condominium, that call it what you want now. And it was jam-packed. There was 100 and some odd seniors there, or their guests, and the parking, there was no parking to be had, and I know they now have a fence going across,
Right, yeah.
so that people wouldn't be seeing the mess that the front part of it was.
see, I don't think it had to do with the mess. I think it has more to do with the fact that they're establishing, that's it for parking spaces for the CLC.
Yeah, but the only thing
Community
is,
Life Center.
if it's a condo and they have that little shed that looks like an outhouse,
Yeah.
because it's for condos,
But it's a big
right?
outhouse.
Well, if they build condos, that fence will come down, because that land, we don't own land. We own just the condo that the people are
Yeah.
in.
Well, they may or may not bring down that fence, because it works to the advantage of it works to the disadvantage of the city, of the Community Life Center, known as the Senior Center, because they can't get any extra parking. So on days when they get full parking, where if there was a 117 condominium unit there and with a parking lot, someone could park in that parking lot. And
Well, that fence will come down. You wait and see. Whoever builds there, the fence will come down, and the condos, in other words, they're not going to have room for everybody there. Who's going to suffer?
the city,
Yeah.
the senior center.
That's right. It's a condo.
Yeah.
You better be careful what we ask for there.
That's
because
right.
Somewhere down the pike, we could have another big box storage
How
place right there.
how can we
That
be
would be ugly.
careful when we don't know what's going in there?
That's
And the
right.
thing is this, from a taxpayer standpoint, from the residents of Salem who pay the way for these things, a big box storage facility is a better value for the Salem resident than one of these units.
Well, it's ugly as all.
You know,
Could be.
so the thing is,
Gateway project.
the question is, so it's ugly, but you can go out to eat 3 or 4 more times a year. What's worth more? You know, maybe more. So that's the break, the trade-off. Just like when they built all the apartments at where Flintan was,
Nice
which is
project.
on Boston Street,
Nice project.
and they look very nice and everything like that. But
10
again,
10
from a-
pounds of sausage in a 5
That's
pound
right.
skin.
right, and yeah, it's crammed in there. But again, from the point of view of the city taxpayer, it would make it more financially feasible for those taxpayers in Salem if the city of Salem just plowed everything over and planted grass and mowed it regularly. That would be better for the city of Salem financially than what they have. there.
$1.75 argument.
Yeah, because you're paying out $1.75, you're taking in $1.
Right.
But you don't see the $1.75 as much because it's spread out
Right.
because it's part of the whole thing. But you do see the dollar. So
Correct.
and the thing is, there's a lag time. Like you're getting that dollar now, and the $1.75 isn't costing you that. So you get a couple of years where you're on the plus side, and that's what and that's why they need the next project, because they need the next project to make up for the fact that this project's now starting to lose money, and that's why they keep pushing out these new projects.
Well, why don't they just, right there at Sweet's property, why don't they take it by eminent domain and have them build a Boys and Girls Club?
Well, there's no money for that. Who's going to do it?
Well, it would be good for our youth.
Right, but again, there's a limit to how much money the city is. Well, I don't believe that the Boys and Girls Club could afford to even if they got the property for $1.
They actually going into a fundraising campaign to try to get some funds, because they are looking for a site
Yeah,
big time for many years.
right, exactly, for many years. And the reason why they don't have a site is because it's costly.
It's basically not really because of the cost. It's because there's no opportunity having been in front of the club. They are looking for.
Huh, okay.
But there's none. I mean, they've been having some conversation with some property owners, but at the time that they go through, I mean, the deal don't go through because it's been already sold to another person, to another company.
Okay.
So at this point right now, the club is looking for a place.
Well, right, I'm sure. I would be surprised if they weren't.
They're
Yeah.
willing to go into
Yeah.
a campaign to get the money.
Yeah.
They have some donors waiting for.
Okay.
So
The end is coming. The end is coming.
yeah,
And I love the Boys and Girls Club.
yeah.
But we're going to use most of that building or that space for the 6th, 7th, and 8th grades. That's going to be part of the high school. And that area will be utilized for the 6th, 7th, and 8th grades, period. And that's the space that they are in now at relatively very low rates.
Yeah.
We've been very, very good to them. I voted for them every year because it's a good purpose.
Yeah.
And much better than some of the purposes that were suggested. However, that is going to be utilized as a large 6th, 7th, and 8th grade.
Now, does anyone have any suggestions out there for buildings or things for them to go to? I mean, if I was Prime Storage or whatever that is that owns Shetland Park now, I think I would, in light of the fact they're going to try to put in, 1,500 apartments there, and they're going to meet resistance, I think I would approach the Boys and Girls Club and say, hey, look, we'll give you X amount of space for the Boys and Girls Club if you support our project, and then it's going to make it very difficult for city councils and stuff to vote against the project.
For that
That's a good
neighborhood,
idea.
and the point, there's not much green grass. It's a very tight, most congested neighborhood in the city of Salem, the Point area.
Yeah.
And that would be a premier. That would be a manna from heaven. Have a Boys and Girls Club down there.
Right.
It
would be a-
very active year round.
It
Year
would
round.
what I'm
be a
saying
great
is-
location for the Boys and Girls Club because most of the children coming from that neighborhood, so it's going to be close.
Correct.
Distance will help a lot to get more people into the club.
Yeah, yeah.
And like you say, Chernow properties will actually gain something because we get the community behind that project.
Right, yeah. I mean, the company would gain because they might get approval, but they might not. And and it would be tough for city councils to vote against the Boys and Girls Club.
That'll be a catalyst for that,
Yeah.
that development. A catalyst for a
Yeah.
new Boys and Girls Club. Which should be,
Yeah.
for me, it's a dream come true.
Yeah,
Dream come
it
true.
would be sort of the same thing that Switzer promised that didn't deliver on.
Didn't deliver, yes.
Right, in terms of the senior center.
But the only thing is, have we found any businessman or any corporation or whatever to take the place of Jack Welch, who was one of the biggest contributors to the Boys and Girls Club?
Aha, I didn't realize that.
If anybody could do it, Joanne Scott is trying very, very hard. Jack O'Brien was really good to Salem. Boys and Girls Club.
Right.
And Bertram Field. He did Bertram Field, the lighting of Bertram Field.
St. Thomas Church.
Yes.
And Jack Welch, is a Salem son of Salem,
Son of Salem.
and he was the
Bradford Street.
the head of GE when it was the largest corporation in the world, or maybe in the free world. But and he donated heavily to to different things in Salem, which was where he was.
Well, Joanne Scott, he said to the board when they were looking, and to take her away from the city where she was head of the Board of Health,
Yeah.
and give her salary and then some. He said, give her anything that she wants and don't worry about it.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Jack
how
Welch
much
was
came, I don't
instrumental
know.
at St. Thomas's Church, too.
St. Thomas Church. Very, very
He had the
good.
golden Midas touch. He gave a lot to Salem.
Yeah.
As a local board who did very
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it just like the Boys and Girls Club for many years was at St. Mary's School, which is going to be the Hawthorne Lofts, but the building deteriorated so much that it just it could no longer be utilized. Yeah, it just seems like there should be some place for them to go. There's enough.
That'd be a dream come true for Joanne Scott. A dream come true to have
Yeah.
a new Boys and Girls Club.
Yeah.
Yeah. Win-win for Salem. Be win-win.
Absolutely.
Yeah, she's done a wonderful job,
Wonderful.
as has Doug Boland. Now, is there any truth, has anyone heard, or is it just rumors, that Doug Boland might run for city council for Ward 2?
He'd be
I haven't
wonderful.
heard that,
He's
but
a
Have not
wonderful
heard.
man, wonderful role model for public
All
service.
rumors?
The best.
Yeah, I have not heard it.
I've known him since he was 6 years old.
Wow. Wow.
And I was 8 or something like that.
Wow.
Because he lived right around the corner from where I lived in Lynn. So
The best of Salem. The best of Salem.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. That's his loss of his partner, Beth, right?
Beth O'Grady.
She was sick for a long time, God rest her soul, right, yeah.
Indeed.
She was a great gal, she really was. They did a lot of great things together, they did, yeah.
okay. Next thing to talk about is holy cow. We have an ice cream spot located at the Willows that's open seasonal, but they have a year-round one on Route 114 in Peabody.
Chandler's, right?
What's that?
Holy cow.
Holy cow.
Holy cow.
Was it
Ice cream.
Chandler's before?
Chandler's.
Oh, yeah, it was
Chandler's.
Chandler's before.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. And they were down in Savannah, Georgia for the Grandmaster ice cream, whatever it is,
Wow.
contest or whatever. And they were, for the third year on the road, they were named Northeast Flavor of the Year ice cream maker. And that's sort of cool. They have someone from Salem, even though, again, their main place is Peabody, but someone from Salem that wins the, Grandmaster Award for the Northeast region for their flavors 3 years running. So that's sort of cool. Congratulations to them.
That one down on Derby Street, what was it? Was that Dusty's? No, what was it?
Dusty's? Captain
Was it
Dusty's?
That is now the 3 condos.
Oh, is it?
And they're close to $1 million for each one.
Really?
I've got to laugh when I say that, because I can't believe little things one on top of the other
Yeah.
is getting at the $1 million.
I know. I had my property
Says.
assessed, appraised,
Appraised.
because I had to redo my mortgage because my mortgage had come due, and when I went to a different bank, and the appraisal came back at a number, and I said, "Excuse me, this can't possibly be worth that much money," and he said to me, "We've got condos in town selling for more than this, because I have like no land. It's a small house. I mean, it's okay, but it suits our purpose, but it's not by any stretch of the imagination a luxury unit." And I'm saying, wow, I can't believe the
why-
price of that.
In the next 20 or 25, the next 20 years, it's going to be historically the unbelievable period of the transfer of wealth from you to your heirs, from mother and father to their children.
Okay.
All of that money is going to change hands in the next 20 years.
And that's because of
It's trillions of dollars.
Huh.
Trillions of dollars.
Yeah.
There's the question.
That's
of
good for the economy, or
Who knows? Who knows what they'll do with the money? Will they go off to Spain? I don't know. Or will they stay and
yeah,
build a new build?
reinvested in
Yeah.
some.
Councilor Cohen asked at the last, when the tax meeting was set, was set, Councilor Cohen asked the city council meeting, is there going to be more condominiums than apartments? And the answer was yes. More condominiums in the future. As you say, the wealth is changing.
Wealth
To more
is changing.
condominiums than apartments.
Transfer of wealth.
In Salem.
Yeah, because in other words, if someone has lived in Salem all their life, and they get near, the age of, they're retiring, and they owned, 2 or 3 family house, and they said, we can convert this to condos, and be fat city. I mean, just really financially set.
Yep.
I mean, you can't blame them. I mean,
No.
it's not good for the
Nope.
city of Salem overall, but you can't blame them for wanting to do that. And it should be their right to do that, but it's not great for the city of Salem.
Well, the other thing is, there's 5 of us sitting here, and Jim, he sold his home, and that's still a family home. I sold an apartment house with 4
Family
apartments.
discount.
Pardon me?
With the family discount.
Oh, yes, I didn't put that in. That's private. But my 4 apartments is now redone, and there's 4 condos. So it's following the trend of what you're talking about. Because people want to know what they're paying for rent. Well, they should take a good look of what people are paying for condo fees.
Right.
That's why I'd like to know, is the city of Salem paying a condo fee down there to Sweetser?
Yeah. Yeah. In fact, this is, the city council, and I don't know if you voted on it or not. I don't believe you were on the city council at the time. But there was talk about, and it was, it was put into the charter thing that you and
Jim.
Tom and Jim were both on the charter commission back in 2001.
2001.
Yeah. And one of the things that was put on that was the fact that the city council would have a separate financial analyst to crunch their own numbers. And that, the whole charter thing was voted down. And city council tried to do it, and it kept getting vetoed by the mayor, and there wasn't enough votes to override the mayor. So I'm just wondering.
I think we had it for 2 years, maybe at the most, and a financial advisor come in, a private firm come in to see how our books are doing. But that was the main clutch of the
But that was
charter commission.
But
We had
No,
40
the
meetings.
main question was the term of mayor.
right. That was the main part of the thing.
Yeah,
But that
yeah.
was the
Something brand new was the
Yeah.
your financial manager,
Right, that's right. Absolutely. Tom.
financial accountability.
Right.
Yeah. And the thing is this: it's a type of thing where the mayor comes in and says, I've got the expert. Here are the numbers, and the city council.
It's a part-time job.
Yeah, it's a part-time job. They don't know whether they're getting the true story or not. And so that was something that was done for to help the city council to have a
Financial
unbiased
exactly.
And because like when the trash fee went into effect, the trash tax went into effect. It was claimed that to make things balanced, we needed to do that, we needed to do this other thing, and we needed to do a third thing. Well, as it came out, that we didn't do the other 2 things. So we didn't need to do that, which we could have done one of those things and not had the trash tax.
Right.
So again, the city council didn't know that when they voted. When they voted, they said, our back's against the wall, we have to do this. And as it turns out, they didn't.
We don't have the expertise to have a
Absolutely. Right.
balanced approach.
And you should have that.
Yeah.
I mean, you're voting on the budget. You're the one that votes on the budget. The city council should have that, and they should put it in, but they don't. There's enough people that uphold the mayor's veto, because the mayor doesn't want that to happen, because the mayor wants to have the full control, no matter who the mayor was. It was Yusevich. I think it came up initially when Yusevich was mayor. He was opposed to it. Obviously, Mayor Driscoll was opposed to it.
Levesque was
All
definitely.
mayors are going to be opposed to it,
Right.
pretty much,
TC was very involved with the trash situation.
Oh, indeed.
Very involved. God bless you.
Yep.
You mean the lawsuit of Michael?
The lawsuit, Mike was big time. Mike and I both. We spent $50,000 on
The
that.
court documents. Michael Allen et al. Versus the city of Salem.
Wow.
Yeah, that was.
Where'd that go?
Yeah, it went down the chutes. To me, I had an attorney who was a city solicitor in another community, and who had put a trash tax in, and he had said to me, my case was a winner. Because again, my name was the name that kept referring to in the newspaper, and he said when they crafted theirs, they did it a certain way because the way that was done here was not past muster. And the courts ruled in favor of the city because they just wanted to give the city money. I mean, and that was it. I know it was appealed, and eventually we ran out of space today.
Well, the judge right here in Salem, he gave his personal opinion, not a legal opinion.
Right.
And he also said other communities should probably be doing it. And the only thing is, we talk about spot zoning. this was spot zoning of landlords
Yeah.
and not the rest of the community.
I
So
agree.
that was wrong.
I agree.
That was illegal.
How do you finance that case? I mean, how was the money? Where is the money coming
we
from?
raised money from the different landlords, and said they gave
Yep.
me some.
Was a lot of support. I mean, all the landlords support that out you.
Yeah, there was a bunch of us that.
We poured money. We poured money.
I mean, I paid more than what I was paying in the trash fee because I had one commercial unit that I had to pay trash tax on because there were only two tenants, and one of the tenants had a dumpster because it was a restaurant, and we didn't have anything upstairs at that time because where the City Hall Annex is. So, it wasn't that much money, but it was the principal thing to me. And some of the people, George Ahmed, from the creator of this show, was instrumental in getting it going. Teasie also was there, instrumental in donating it, and when we went forward, hired an attorney out of the area because attorneys in this area didn't want to be suing the city and then come before the city board. That didn't make sense. So,
But don't you think that at the end the tenant pay for that fee? Because actually, me as a landlord, you as a landlord, anyone landlord, increase the rent to include that fee into. So actually, it's the tenant pay for.
Okay.
You know when they say you can't fight City Hall?
Excuse me one moment, because the show's going to end in just a minute here, and I just want to make sure. I want to say Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Holidays to all. We'll see you in the new year. Have a safe and happy Christmas and New Year. I'm not.
To all the kids in Salem, Santa's on his way.
Yeah. I like to say Happy Merry Christmas to everyone, and think on people who doesn't have family around. So just make any family happy. I like to look out on the ways that there is a lot of people who need a lot of hug and love. So love, peace, and love for everyone. And next year is going to be better. Happy New Year.
Yep, and I would really say thank you to the Friends of the Council of Aging for the nice party that they helped subsidize on yesterday at the senior condo. And it would have been $10 or $12 for the meal that they had, but because they subsidized it, they paid only $5, and the seniors were very, very happy. It was a wonderful time. The staff there does a wonderful job, and I'm just saying, Friends of the Council of Aging, thank you, along with your president. Yeah.
The Community Life Center is the really a wonderful project for the senior citizens. Speaking as a senior citizen myself, it's a great community investment into our future. Great. Thank you very much, DC, and Cheryl LaPointe and Andy LaPointe.
And Tom, you regifted one of your gifts.
Yes, I did. Yes.
Your contest prize that you gave to your two sons.
I gave them an early Christmas present.
Yeah,
An early
exactly.
Christmas present, and they're going to Cambodia for the 2 weeks in April.
Okay.
They've never gone back. They're much more handsome and smarter than I am. They're Cambodian, and one is 31, and one is 38, and they're going for 2 whole weeks to Cambodia in April. So I gave them an early Christmas gift.
Yeah.
Was one of them from Cambodia?
Yes, both of them.
Both of them. Both of them.
Before we end, we wanted to say Happy Merry Christmas also to the SLTV, the whole staff, and the director for the service they provide.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mike, for hosting
Indeed.
this very
Well, I
important
mean,
program.
the SATV staff comes and sets up the set and everything. In the old days, we used to have to do it ourselves, but they graciously do that now because it makes it so much easier. I just come in and start spouting off. That's it. It's so easy. So, and I appreciate all you guys.
Great time of year.
Yeah, I appreciate all you guys coming in each month and
Thank you for the good cook.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Making the
Thank
phone
you.
calls, and putting up with us.
Bye.